I'm going to offer two reflections today, and the first one is on spirituality, kind of what I think it is and the path we follow, and the other is a reflection on spiritual practices. First, a reflection on spirituality. I don't know if you've noticed, but there is a pattern to life, one which most of us go through, a pattern that helps us grow, change, and mature, perhaps approaching wisdom in our elder years. This pattern, mystic Richard Rohr says, is a constant in almost every culture and religion, found in Buddhism, Native American spiritualities, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism. Religions with their rituals and practices are designed to help us through this pattern and bring spiritual transformation to our lives. Rohr says that most of us begin our lives in the stage of order, and we stay in that order for perhaps a very long time, sure of ourselves, our families, our friends, our vocations, our religions, knowing from day to day what the next day will bring. Order. Then, for almost everyone, the stage of disorder comes. A loved one dies, a job is lost, there's a mental or physical diagnosis that takes over our lives, and suddenly, practically all that we knew is swept away. This disorder does not discriminate between the liberal or the conservative, it is universal, and we each muck our way through times of cynicism and despair, usually blaming and pointing fingers at all that we thought we knew before, pointing our fingers at God or parents or that vocation that we lost, even our country. Disorder can take over our lives and last a long time, if not our whole lives. Always remember, in this church, it's okay to argue with the minister. Unitarian Universalism is, at least to me, an outcome in many ways of this phase of disorder. It is outside the orthodox orderly box, and it's not generally for those who are seeking order, but for those who are trying to deal with life's disorder. Educator James Fowler, who also talks about stages of faith, says also you can't go backward, back into that time of simplicity and order. Once you've left a major phase of life, you are in the next one, for the most part, for good or for ill. With patience, reflection, acceptance, humility, especially for the liberally minded, which is many of us, and contemplation, we might enter what Rohr calls the third phase, reorder. The world is no longer black and white, but gray. Nothing is completely terrible or perfectly good. We reweave pieces from our orderly phase of life through the despair of disorder, and we see a new pattern, a mosaic that includes everything in all its ambiguity. We find a spiritual acceptance for ourselves and for one another. We cannot get to reorder, we realize, without having gone through all that disorder, no matter how long or painful it was. Reorder is not a place that you can reach through will or desire. It comes when we learn to accept that disorder and see the goodness that is still left from that naive, orderly time. And so we become both and type of people, including being both liberal and conservative. Both Rohr and Fowler say that this is indeed a rare human, the prophet that can both love and critique his or her community. never overreacting or over-defending. I start here because spirituality is all about the journey through life. It's not contained in any one religion, path, or God. It's there for the non-believer as well. Your core self, whether you call it soul or essence or spirit, is something you cannot ultimately run away from either. And if you can find it, trust it, touch it, live with it, it will carry you through disorder, even if you never reach that time of reordering. This core self is our spiritual center, beneath the ego, that shattering of our ever-critiquing, demanding, wounding minds. The place of our real consciousness. This consciousness or spirit within is our connection to the rest of that spirit world out there. Whether we think of that as God or Gaia, Christ, holiness, Buddha mind, Brahman, Great Spirit, Mother Earth, or nothingness, or everythingness.
I don't think that's a word.
It's not. It came in red in my computer. But imagine everythingness. A friend here told me that he had been believing in a God of the gaps. That's what God is like in disorder. Something that's somewhere between the gaps. In reorder, the gaps connect, and wholeness can be seen and experienced. And mystery is in everything, connecting everything. And a lightness comes in, lifting us from despair while accepting despair. Despair does not go away. One of the purposes of our faith is to partner us through disorder, help us find hope and love and meaning, help us learn how to cope, how to find our inner selves, the core of our inherent worth and dignity, and help us to stay connected in community no matter what. And finally, we may learn that faith has always meant first, faith in life and the project of life and living, and faith in all those who have life and all creatures who have life. Faith even in the face of despair. May it be so.